My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for choosing us. Former Chief Justice Sophia Kofo has described the domestic debt exchange program as wicked and unlawful. This description, according to the retired judge, Chief Justice, is as a result of the failure of government to exempt pensioner bondholders from the exercise. Ms. Kofo today joined the Pensioner Bondholders Forum at the Finance Ministry to press home the demand for total exemption on deadline day. Listen to what she had to say.
You even decide you're going to restructure debts, the first thing you need to do, I believe, is to look within what is fully under your control and see where you can cut this, you can postpone this, you can reprioritize, and be honest with the people of Ghana. Because of A, B, C, D, E, and F, we will shelve this, we will put this on the back burner, we will prioritize this because it has to do with education, it has to do with a human life, and so on and so forth. You don't just jump at the low-hanging fruit. And the people whose money is in your hand, and you're going to tell them, okay, your money is in my hand, and this is how you're going to get it back. It's rude, it's wicked, it's unlawful, it's not right. It lacks good faith, it lacks humanity, because we are sitting here because we are well enough to come. Do you know how many people are languishing at home? Do you know how many people who are not even, they are in such a bad state, they are not even aware of what's going on, but it's their investments that have been keeping them alive. You don't know, you don't care. And you do not touch the old people. You do not touch the funds of the aged when you have not done other things. You have not done due diligence. You have not checked on what other things you do. We are not your last resort. You haven't reached the point of last resort. If they think they've reached the point of last resort, they should prove it to us and show us why this is the only solution. And in any case, it's not a lawful solution. So they should not even go there. Because if they change the law today, it will not affect what has already accrued.
And so, as a lawyer, what are the legal perspectives? Are there any remedies for this bondholder? Should government still maintain the position they have taken?
They can take them to court because there's a contract. And the contract said something. You did not, certainly in what I signed up, there was no clause in there which says when the government becomes and thinks it has become bankrupt, it will not pay you. So long as government has properties, I can sue them and I can claim my entitlements through there. But it should not come to that. I'm a Ghanaian citizen. There's today, but tomorrow Ghana will continue to exist with or without Kenuforiata and so on and so forth. But deal fairly, deal respectfully, deal properly with people whose rights you're trying to trample on, and you're trying to use cajolement and dubious arguments and sentimentality. Listen, when you are old, when you're a pensioner, when you know where every penny you spend and need comes from, sentiment does not arise.
Now to Parliament. In the next 1 week, Parliament is expected to bring finality to concerns raised by students with regards to the recent increments in fees. In 2022, Parliament approved a 15% increment in fees for the 2022-2023 academic year. However, there has been sharp opposition to this, as students allege some of the universities had charged as much as 70%. In their defense, particularly for the University of Ghana, it said the baselines used by students in the calculations of the fees was lower than what they used. After months, Parliament has intervened. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with details. Kweku, what more do we know?
Aisha, can you come again?
What more do we know about the increment in fees for the university students?
So our understanding is that the Education Committee have been holding some conversation with the management of the University of Ghana, with Milks, with the SRC, just among other things. The conclusion that seems to be coming out of this meeting is that the university did not necessarily breach any law when they, as it were, provided that they were going to increase fees by 15%, as the students have been claiming all along. But the agreement was so that the students and the university management must have some kind of conversation, must come to an agreement before the fees could have been charged. But as we know, many public universities have already reopened, the fees have already been charged, the fees have already been paid. So what the committee is doing now is to get to a point where they can build consensus and come to some agreement as to whether or not the fees will be reduced or the current rate will be maintained.
What else is happening in Parliament, Kweku?
So just gone by, the Electoral Commission CI matters came up strongly on the floor. It was discussed that the Business Committee has programmed it for next week for that CI to be late. But according to the minority, none of that sort came up at the Business Committee, and they are vehemently opposed to that.
Kweku Asante is our parliamentary correspondent, but much more on the student increment of fees for university students. President of the National Union of Ghana Students, Dennis Apialabi, has also joined us via Zoom. Dennis, you were in that meeting. What else, what transpired at that meeting? Right, so we lost Dennis there. We'll try and get him to get a response on this for you. But more young people are being diagnosed with kidney diseases because of non-compliance to medical advice and the indulgence in unhealthy lifestyles. Medical officer at the renal dialysis unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Samuel Edu-Ajen, speaking on JoyNews on maintaining healthy kidneys, explained that conditions such as hypertension, obesity, diabetes, among others, are conditions resulting from poor lifestyles which later may lead to kidney diseases. He says some of these have become common among the youth because they smoke and use aphrodisiacs.
Well, so kidney diseases can be caused by there are so many causes of kidney diseases. I would break it into two. First of all, we can have an acute kidney injury or acute kidney failure, and then we have the chronic kidney failure or chronic kidney disease. So any condition that is able to cause a reduction in the blood flow to the kidney can cause kidney disease. So if someone has an infection, it can also cause kidney disease. If there is a reduced blood pressure or extremely high blood pressure in an acute state, it can also lead to kidney problems. Aside that, you can have infections. Even malaria can cause acute kidney problems. Aside that, we can also talk about hypertension, diabetes, obesity, smoking, which are the key risk factors that we have that causes the kidney disease in Ghana. Lifestyle is the driving factor that leads to hypertension, diabetes, as well as obesity. And so if someone is taking a lot of saturated fat, that can lead to hypertension. If we are not exercising, we are also at risk of developing hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. All of these things can affect the blood flow to the kidneys and then would result in a chronic kidney disease. So lifestyle plays a key role. The diet we take, how much water we even drink per day also affects it's our lifestyle, and that can also lead to kidney problems. Every drug, I would say, is a poison. Okay. However, we have the dosage that you need to take that is therapeutic. And so if you are taking certain medications that are nephrotoxic, that means that when the drug is processed in the body, okay, it has to be excreted out of the body and it has to pass through the kidneys. So during the process, as it is passing through the kidneys, if it is toxic to the kidneys, it will definitely have a negative toll on the kidney. Herbal medications can do that as well, because we don't know how much of the herbal medication is too much for the kidneys.
How do we stay safe, Doc?
Right. So in order to stay safe from kidney problems, first of all, I would advise that we drink adequate amount of water, at least 3 liters of water per day. Okay. Also, we should encourage healthy diet, which does not include a lot of fat and too much of the carbohydrates, protein, minerals, raw veggies, fruits, vegetables. Those ones are quite good for us. Aside that, we should also encourage exercise. At least 30 minutes of exercise each day is going to help us, give us good cardiovascular health, help the heart to pump enough blood to the kidneys so that the kidneys will be in good state. Aside that, if you are hypertensive, I would encourage that you take your medications appropriately. You don't take one medication and think that your blood pressure is controlled. You also need to know if your blood pressure is truly controlled with whichever medications you are taking. Exactly. And so monitoring also plays a key role in controlling hypertension. Well, it depends on the center at which you are. However, it would be around not less than 400 cedis per session.
Now, founder and CEO of Prime Life Kidney Foundation, who also works at the renal unit, Ebenezer Henako, is soliciting support from the public to support patients living with kidney disease due to costly nature of the treatment. He's doing this by organizing an education session on Val's Day on how to care for the kidney. He tells us more.
Day is to give them a talk on kidney health and then screen them for free, the community. So our target area is, the churches, the schools around, and then the entire community. So we actually going to talk on kidney disease, screen everybody who comes there for free. And then on the fun side too, we would also want to have some jazz and cool session. As we educate them, we want to have fun in a better way. So we want to have some jazz and cool session. And so we've been also asking for a sponsorship to add up, chocolates, a little bit of that, so that at least those who would also be involved in some of the fun things that we do will be used as souvenirs. And we are doing this together with Just Up Hospital. And of course, thanks so much for Joy. We are also doing this together with you. And then Wolvin's Place, they are giving us their facility to have this very nice occasion done.
Ebenezer Henako is also a medical officer. We can now go back to the Finance Ministry, where pension bondholders are picketing, and it's likely the minister will be meeting them shortly. My colleague James Aveji is there. James, first tell us about the mood at the place, especially when the former Chief Justice joined. Hello, James.
Aisha, so it was a boost in morale for the pension bondholders when the former Chief Justice, Sophia Kofo, touched down at the grounds. And so it was at the initial stage of their setup when a few of them were around trying to bring out the seat from their cars as well as the placards from their vehicles. When she came and stepped out of her car, you could visually see surprise as well as excitement on the faces of the individuals who were there before she came. Now, when she came, she had a bit of interactions with them, a few of them, because most of them were thinking, and we the media were thinking, that maybe she was just passing by to go somewhere, and then we later got to know that she has come to throw her weight behind them to drum home their call for a total exemption from the debt exchange program. And so she took her seat, got hold of one of the placards, and sat through within the 1 hour of picketing. And her message, as you have indicated or played earlier, is that these are old people who are vulnerable at the stage of their life in which they are now. And so she describes the decision of government to include them in the debt exchange program as one, wicked. She says it is illegal, and the posture of government in all of this is one that she thinks is of arrogance, because you cannot get into a business with someone and then you go back to determine the terms and conditions on which you come back to continue the business. And so she thought that government would have consulted all of these persons, and she thinks that there was no way government should have included these pension bondholders in the first place before they would be picketing to demand for their exemption. So those were her general thoughts on the whole issue. Now, since she's a lawyer, she indicated that she would be available to pick this matter on should government continue to maintain the position that they have taken, that they will be including them, because she thinks it is a violation on their part of the bargain. And so if they should continue, she's ready to take them to take the government to court to demand that the right thing is done. She indicated that even if it will come to selling government properties to retrieve these monies to pay back the pension bondholders, she is willing as an individual to do that, and that even if all of the people who are standing behind her as pensioners decide to opt out of that court battle with the government, she is willing to be the only person to stand in court and seek justice for them for the sake of posterity. Now, at about 10:30 a.m. when the picketing was ongoing, we had an indication from the convener of the group, Dr. Ananientwi, that he just got a call from the ministry that the finance minister is ready to give them another audience, just like he did on Monday. And about 11:15, when the whole picketing was over, he indicated to us that they are now going to meet the finance minister, who said he is now free and ready to meet them. And so from 11:15, about an hour ago, they have been locked up in a meeting at the finance ministry, and we are here waiting for the conclusion of that meeting to know whether government will still be maintaining its stance of including the pension bondholders, or they would abandon that and exempt them totally from the domestic debt exchange program. But in the closing remark of Dr. Ananientwi, he indicated that Monday they will be resuming if government still maintain its position, and on Tuesday, if they do not hear anything better from government, they will take it up and meet the finance minister in Parliament. They will go to Parliament to meet him, picket at the Gallery of Parliament until their demands are met.
You heard there James Aveji bringing us updates on what's happening at the Finance Ministry. The outcome of that meeting with pension bondholders and Finance Minister, we will bring it on our subsequent bulletins. You need to stay on the JoyNews channel for all of that. Let's do some politics. MPP flag bearer hopeful Alan Chermantin says Ghana would have been raking in $25 billion in revenue annually if his presidential special initiatives, especially on oil, palm and textiles, had been taken seriously. That amount is more than 5 times the bailout loan of $3 billion Ghana wants from the IMF. Speaking on Ho-Bay's Cool FM after touring the Volta region, the former Trade and Industry Minister said all party executives, including those at the polling station level, will be paid full-time salary and pensions if he is elected flag bearer. Maxwell Agbagba has more from his tour in the Volta region.
Some traders at the whole central market singing and dancing to welcome the NPP flag bearer hopeful. Speaking during his tour of the country, he said the NPP needs a flag bearer who can garner 80% of votes in the party's stronghold of the Ashanti region, whilst increasing its votes in the Volta region, which is the stronghold of the NDC. He said he's the best person to do that for the NPP, as the people of the Volta region see him as a friend and a brother. So I asked some of the people in the market what they think of Alan Chermantin.
Alan, he's a man, it's his time now. Now is his season. He has been struggling for a while. Today is his time.
Alan is the best choice for the party at this time, because things are getting too hard. We want somebody who can come and unify the people of this country. Without any hesitation, I am for Alan, and the people of Volta are for Alan.
Speaking in an interview on Ho-Based Cool FM, he said the reception at the market was beyond his expectation. He says leaders of the party at the grassroots level will be paid salary and pensions if he's elected flag bearer of the NPP.
That I believe it is only fair that people who work for the party, executives of the party, are compensated appropriately so that they can spend their energy and time and effort to build the structures of the party. If I become the flag bearer of our party, I'll make sure that all executives of the party are on full-time salary, they would have social security, and they will also benefit from a pension scheme. Because I feel that that will build the appetite for our younger people to feel that it is worth sacrificing their lives for the party. You don't need government money to do that.
National level.
All executives.
Even to the branch.
Yes, even to the what we call the police station level.
Alan Shemantin says Ghana would have been raking in $250 billion in revenue if the country had paid attention to his presidential special initiatives.
I talked about palm oil or oil palm. Malaysia learned about the cultivation of oil palm from Ghana in the early 60s. Currently, Malaysia makes almost $20 billion US, 20 billion, not million, every year from oil palm. Now, can you imagine if we as a country take the oil palm industry seriously and we make only half of that, and if we had continued with the PSIs 22 years ago when I introduced the PSIs, by now every year would have been making minimum $10 billion a year. Cocoa has never given us more than $22 billion a year. Never. Bangladesh earns $30 billion every year just from export of garments alone. So if 22 years ago we are taking what I had been talking about, what I had created, garments and textiles, and we're making only half of what Bangladesh is making, that would have been 15 billion plus 10 billion from the oil palm. We would have made minimum $25 billion every year. I talk about this, Prince, because if you want to lead a country, you need somebody who has a big vision.
While as the race for the NPP flag bearership gets heated, the Alan Shemantin campaign is raising concerns about online attacks targeted at the former trade minister and some members of his team. Addressing journalists, spokesperson of the campaign, Yawabina Samo, said some of the attacks have been reported to the relevant authorities for action.
It's very unfortunate that the Alan campaign is coming under continuous cyber attack. We don't want to apportion blame. We don't want to share the sources. But Alan has been attacked 2 or 3 times, including the notable false story that delegates in the Western North told him things that never happened, including the half-based messaging. But worst of all is the 2 nights ago, the egregious attack on me, where a statement I have never made, will never make, and will never contemplate was ascribed to me with my picture and circulated very, very widely on the internet. A virulous attack on my personality and my person, all because we are pushing a humble, courageous leader to freshen politics in Ghana. Please, 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 the Alan campaign will remain decent. I completely disclaim whatever has my image on it with that nasty message that I will not even repeat here. A message so nasty, I can't imagine is coming out of a political brain, a brain that should be put to good use for the benefit of Ghanaians.
Let's stick with the economy because economist and former rector of GIMPA, Professor Stephen Midday, says his worry over the country's current economic challenges is not the cost to get an IMF bailout, but what becomes of our economy after the bailout. Government has over the last few weeks been struggling to meet IMF conditionalities to be able to get a loan from the fund, with fierce resistance from domestic creditors who say they want to be exempted. Professor Midday, in a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Personality Profile, says he fears we will not learn any lessons from our current situation.
The IMF is only for stabilization. And let me tell you, we are going to go through a hard time for 3 years.
Yeah.
And if we don't behave, and we go and borrow, over-borrow,
we'll be back to square one.
Back to square one. If we don't stop our corruption, we'll be back to square one. If we don't have good development direction, we'll be back to square one.
Interesting.
So what we need, for me, the pain is that will we learn?
Yeah. Do you foresee that?
Yes. That is, I can't predict. The past is not a good guide. In other countries, by now, about 10 people, and the people are in Ghana, their job is just thinking about the economy. How, when you try this, it doesn't work, then immediately there is no national brain think tank.
Yep.
We have now in Ghana, it is NDC brains to criticize and NDC brain to MPP brain to try to manage it and things. But this is what pains me.
Yeah.
That even your brain is not respected unless you are wearing red and blue. Is that the MPP?
Yes, and white, or green, white, and red and black, correct?
Yes. And this is the time Ghanaian brains must be mobilized.
Yeah.
Because after this transition, the actual development of our nation still remains. And we cannot, some of us, actually, you ask me, the pain is that are we going to die to leave a Ghana which is not developed for our children and grandchildren to also go through this vicious cycle?
The full interview airs at 9 p.m. this evening on the Joy News channel. Let's take a break on Joy News today. When we return, we'll bring you business.
Hello everyone, warm welcome to the business segment on Joy News. Today with me, Pius Kojobaka. Hollard Ghana, as part of its corporate social responsibility, has awarded the winners of its Hollard Streetwise Finance Business Challenge with 15,000 cedis to assist the young entrepreneurs with funding to grow and scale up their businesses. According to the Managing Director of Hollard Insurance, Daniel Addo, the company is committed to ensuring that there is a reduction in the rate of unemployed youth in Ghana.
Hollard Ghana organized the Streetwise Finance Business Challenge to give young entrepreneurs the opportunity to acquire financial help to grow their businesses. The contestants were judged based on the feasibility, scalability, and sustainability of their businesses. The competition encompassed entrepreneurs from the University of Ghana and the University of Cape Coast. Speaking in an interview, Managing Director of Hollard Insurance, Daniel Addo, said the company is committed to helping young people develop their businesses to increase employment in the country.
The business community has had reason to question the way the universities train graduates. I mean, we've always made the point that the instruction is too theoretical. So graduates leave and then they have no entrepreneurial skill, or they expect someone else to employ them, or they always expect to be told what to do. And we've made that claim for years. And when we found out that the University of Ghana has built an innovation center where they would train students to bridge this gap or to correct this problem, we were excited. And that's the reason why we are here. At Hollard, we strive to be a catalyst for positive and enduring change. So if we see any program started anywhere in the country that we think will have a positive effect on the country,
we join, and we are passionate about this country. We are here to stay, and that's why we are here.
Dean of the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Justice Bawale, added that the challenge provides an opportunity for the entrepreneurs and young graduates to effectively sustain their businesses.
We have come to adopt this method of training our students. One, give them the theory of entrepreneurship, how to start a business and all of that. But two, give them the opportunity to try their hands on things. And they start by encouraging them to see what exists that they can do, encourage them, support them to come out with ideas that can be tested, and provide them with the environment to test those ideas and receive coaching and mentoring from experienced people. And so today, our entrepreneurship training has moved away from what I did, which is just do a theory exam on entrepreneurship and say all the things that you can say, and not go ahead and practice it, to a situation where we now have our students taking through entrepreneurship practical things, as you can see today. So what you are witnessing today is a challenge supported by Hollard Insurance, and they providing us support to give opportunity for students to pitch their ideas. It's one thing dreaming about an idea. It's even one thing working on the idea, but it is another for the idea to be tested and especially evaluated by people who understand how businesses are created and managed, and of course made sustainable.
Step Farm emerged winners of the challenge and were awarded with 15,000 Ghana cedis, while the first and second runner-ups were awarded 10,000 Ghana cedis and 5,000 Ghana cedis, respectively.
Now, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana is concerned about the rate at which imported raw materials are taking over the local market. According to the General Secretary for the association, Samuel Agri, more support should be given to local researchers to aid in reducing imports. He spoke to Joy Business at the second edition of the Agritech West Africa exhibition.
The Agritech West Africa, with Food and Beverage and Food Park Tech Ghana exhibition, covers the entire value chain of agriculture industry under one roof with about 100 companies exhibiting from Ghana and beyond. According to the Beverage Association of Ghana, more investment is needed in technology.
How it is now, technology is evolving, and therefore, as we are doing it, it will get to a time that you expect to change your machinery to expand your facility. And by expanding, you also need higher technology in doing these things. So the costs of doing all these things comes with borrowing. That is why I said, if you have to pay a high price for borrowing, therefore you cannot do that. Already when you are bringing in the machinery, they said you have some discount over there at zero rated value. The relevance in ensuring that we produce more of what is being consumed in Ghana is becoming alive. But then the cost of doing that is very high. And that is why we say government should look at it to ensure that these companies do not suffer. Because wherever they are exporting to, it's also a good destination to set up your facility there. And therefore, we shouldn't give room for them to repack and go to that country and produce over there.
The second edition of the Agritech West Africa exhibition, along with Food and Beverage Ghana and Food Park Tech Ghana exhibition, shall be held from the 15th to the 17th of March 2023 at the Accra International Conference Center.
And that's it for business. I am Pius Kojobaka. My colleague Darrell Kwa will come your way at 1 p.m. with the marketplace.
Hello, welcome to the sports segment with me, Razak Musbah. Well, Ghana's 100-meter jumper runner, Benjamin Azamati, has been speaking about his preparation ahead of the World Athletics Championship. The runner was part of a 60-meter indoor event where he came fourth, but he says that he is ready to give off his best when the World Athletics Championships begins.
I feel great. I mean, coming over here, it has been 2 weeks since I've not really won spikes because we have a very terrible weather back in Kenya. So to be able to come out here around 662, 665, I think I'll take it. I think it's going to set me out for a good outdoor season.
Yeah, how do you use that as motivation, not only this race, but then the rest of your indoor season going outdoors?
I mean, looking at how my preseason went, I was in Ghana in December, and the whole of that time I didn't, have any track to, train on and all that. But to be able to come out here on 662, I mean, I'll take it. I think, as I said, it's going to set me up for a really good outdoor season.
Nice. And what does it mean to represent Ghana on the world stage kind of year after year? What's that mean for you?
It means the world to me, man. I mean, I have a lot of people looking up to me. I mean, I happen to be the national record holder. I mean, so anytime I'm here to run, I know there are a lot of people, looking up to me, kids who want to be like me. So anytime I get onto the tracks, I'm able to give my 100%.
Nice. And do you consider yourself, do you like the 60? I know the 100 is kind of like your bread and butter, but do you like running the 60 every so often?
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's the 60 is also part of the 100. So, I mean, if I'm able to run it well, I mean, it set me up for a very, very good 100 meters.
Nice. And how do you use kind of the great, you had a pretty good 2022 season, now coming into 2023. How do you use that coming into this year?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this season, I think it's really going to be a good one because I had a college season last year, and you know how college season is. You're running almost every weekend, but now I'm pro, so I get time to relax and get time to work on the little things and all that. So I think this season will be a good one for me.
Nice. And transitioning from college into the pro ranks, what has that experience been like?
I mean, it's tough. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, when I was in college, these are people that I was looking up to, watching their stats and all that. So when I went pro for the first time, it felt like I'm a fan. I mean, there are people that I used to learn from, and there are people that I'm seeing now on the big stage. So I was more of like a fan, but now I think we're all about the money when we line up. So, I mean, I have to change my mentality going into the pro.
Nice. And then just thinking of African sprinting, right? You're one of the leaders. There's a lot of other guys. What do you see as the future of sprinting in Africa?
I think I see it to be exciting. There are more upcoming ones that are very good. I mean, when you look at Akani, you look at Rednat, there are people that,
So that's Benjamin Azamati there, speaking about that event he was in the United States 60-meter dash there, where he didn't quite perform well, but he is very optimistic that the season will go very well for him. But in this weekend, there's going to be games to the Ghana Premier League, even starting today. Let's just take a look at those fixtures starting today. In Bechim United, they will be hosting leaders at Diana Stars, and Krahata Folk will be in action against Brecum. Chelsea. Dreams FC will host Asante Kotoko, and Kenfaizo, they'll play Tamale United. Tamale City themselves, after getting an important win over the weekend, will play at Midiama, and Samatex will be in action against Legum City. So Saint-Germain will play Great Olympics, and Kareli United will take on Kotoku Royals. And on Monday, Accra Lions and BBNE Gold Stars will wrap up match week 17 in the Ghana Premier League. Well, that's all we have for you in sports. Up next is World News.
Good afternoon. Let's settle for some showbiz news here on Joy News today. Now, a policy framework is in the works by the Creative Arts Agency to establish a creative arts curriculum for study under Ghana's education sector. CEO of the agency, Jan Kroma Kofo, says the framework, once concluded, will be forwarded to Parliament for deliberations and subsequent approval.
The Creative Arts Agency on Thursday met stakeholders to begin drafting a policy framework development to establish creative education in Ghana. This framework, according to the agency, if approved, will be included in the educational curriculum across the country.
Concentrate on the arts, appreciation, arts education as a totality. That we are finding that a lot of students aren't getting that mandatory art class, music class, drama class. The classes that were throughout history and throughout time have given critical thinking, have given stress relief, art education, art appreciation, and have also birthed artists. It always is told to you to learn it as early as possible. If you're an Olympic swimmer, if you're a footballer, if you're a scientist, you are taught that to grasp it as early on as possible. And if you did that with someone that has a burgeoning interest in painting or poetry and caught them from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and carrying on going and giving them a solid basis and solid foundation within that career, within that platform, within that industry, that could become a burgeoning artist, that could become a prolific artist. And that could also become someone who not necessarily goes into art, but you find that most fields need creative thinking. If you're
Public Relations Officer for the National Teaching Council, who was present at the meeting, says the initiative is welcoming and has promised that teachers will be taken through special training for the course.
In order to be able to work hand in hand with the existing curriculum and then improve on what one can do creatively, not necessarily the grammar aspect of education only, but we think that if this country can move to a different direction, then we need to build our worlds right from the beginning, right from the scratch. They know where they fall within, and then build on their creative skills.
Okay, so how are teachers going to be ready for this?
Yeah, it's a new thing introduced, and so what we are even discussing now, we want to now even fuse it into the training system of the teacher. And so right from the training of the teacher knows that we have to build the creativity of the pupil or the learner.
The Creative Education Policy Framework will make students think in creative ways from the basic level to the tertiary and will equip students with creative skills for solving issues. Nicholas Eko Yamwa's report for JoyNews.
Well, on that note, we end showbiz here on JoyNews today. There's more showbiz news in our subsequent bulletins, also on myjoyonline.com/entertainment. Good afternoon to you, Aisha.
Hello, beautiful Becky. That's how we end the bulletin on JoyNews today. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.